Having been found guilty, I am going to adjudicate you guilty. I'm going to sentence you to life with a mandatory minimum 25 years state prison for the firearm.
Some women commit crimes so shocking that they are sentenced to death. However, it's their unexpected reactions to this fate that truly capture attention. For example, there's one woman who receives the death penalty and shows no sign of remorse, no guilt whatsoever. And let's not forget the woman who, instead of feeling sorry, took out her frustration on her own lawyer. In this video, we explore the reactions of women who faced the ultimate penalty and how their responses were beyond belief. Rosemary Ndlovu is a former police officer and convicted serial killer from South Africa. Between 2012 and 2018, she took the lives of 6 people, including her partner and 5 family members, in a plot to claim their life and funeral insurance money. She collected approximately $4 million, which is around $93,000 before her arrest. Her first victim was her cousin, Madala witness Homu, who was found beaten to death in March 2012. Ndlovu received over $131,000 in insurance money from his death. In June 2013, she killed her sister Audrey by poisoning and strangling her while Audrey was staying at her house. Ndlovu then collected over $77,000 in life insurance from her sister's death. Later that month, she also murdered her niece, Zanele Moa, by beating her and received 9,840 rand in insurance funds. In October 2015, her boyfriend, Maurice Mabasa, was found dead in Oliphantfontein, stabbed 76 times. Ndlovu received over $131,000 from life insurance policies she had taken out on him. In April 2017, her nephew, Mayeni Mashaba, was found murdered in Oliphantfontein after meeting with Ndlovu the day before. Ndlovu's final victim was her nephew, Brilliant Mako, who was last seen with her on January 22, 2018. His body was discovered 2 days later, on January 24th. In court, Ndlovu admitted to taking out life insurance policies on Mako. Her killing spree came to an end when she was caught attempting to hire undercover police officers, posing as hitmen, to murder her sister Joyce and her 5 children by setting their house on fire. In 2021, Ndlovu was sentenced to 6 life terms for the murders, along with an additional 30 years for other crimes.
I accordingly impose the following sentence on accused. The accused is sentenced to life imprisonment on each count,
as well as 10 years for 4 counts of fraud, 7 charges of attempting to have people murdered, and 10 years for trying to murder her mother, Maria Musana. If you think this is so crazy, then you must watch this case where Taylor Schabusiness, a 25-year-old woman, was convicted for killing and dismembering her 24-year-old ex-boyfriend, Shad Theon, in February 2022. Theon and Schabusiness had been using methamphetamine in the basement of his mother's house in Green Bay when Schabusiness strangled him, decapitated him, and cut his body into pieces. She then scattered his body parts around the house and in a car. On February 3, 2022, Theon's mother discovered his head in a bucket in the basement and contacted the authorities, leading to Schabusiness' arrest. In July 2023, a jury convicted her of first-degree homicide, third-degree assault, and mutilating a corpse. Schabusiness had pleaded not guilty, claiming she was mentally ill, but the jury ruled she was not mentally ill when she killed Theon. On September 26, 2023, Judge Thomas Walsh sentenced Schabusiness to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. He described the crime as shocking and stated it had deeply impacted the community. Schabusiness's defense attorney, Christopher Froelich, argued that she could be rehabilitated at the age of 25. However, Schabusiness remained silent during her sentencing, only responding, "No, there isn't."
So, Ms. Schabusiness, this is your opportunity to address me if there's anything on your mind you'd like to say before I pass sentence.
No, there isn't.
Okay.
Earlier, in February 2023, Schabusiness had attacked her former lawyer, Quinn Jolly, during a hearing and had to be restrained by a deputy. Sararat Rangsiwutthaporn, a 36-year-old woman from Thailand, was convicted for poisoning her friend with cyanide. This case marks the first of 14 murder cases she is facing, and she is believed to be one of the most notorious serial killers in Thailand's history. Rangsiwutthaporn, who had an addiction to online gambling, allegedly swindled money from her victims before killing them with cyanide. She borrowed large sums of money, sometimes as much as 300,000 baht, approximately $9,000, from her victims, then killed them and stole their jewelry and phones. In April 2023, she met her friend Siraporn Kwang near Bangkok for a Buddhist ritual where they released fish into the Mekong River. Shortly after, Siraporn collapsed and died. Investigators later discovered cyanide in her body, linking Rangsiwutthaporn to multiple cyanide poisonings dating back to 2015. Her ex-husband and a former police officer was sentenced to 1 year and 4 months in prison for helping her hide evidence to avoid prosecution. Rangsiwutthaporn faces 13 more murder trials and was charged with around 80 offenses in total. She became widely known in Thai media as Amide due to the high-profile nature of the case, partly due to her connection with her ex-husband and her pregnancy at the time of her arrest. Rangsiwutthaporn was sentenced to death and ordered to pay compensation of 2 million baht, about $157,700, to Siraporn's family for the stolen items. The next woman is Tiffany Nicole Moss, represents some of the darkest aspects of humanity. She was convicted of killing her 10-year-old stepdaughter, Amani Gabriel Moss, in 2013. Amani, born in 2003 to a drug-addicted mother who gave up her parental rights, was placed into the custody of her father, Emon, who often took her to church. It was there that he met Tiffany Moss, and they married in 2009, having 2 children together. In 2010, Tiffany began abusing Amani after losing her job. Amani later confided in a school nurse that she feared going home due to the abuse. Tiffany was arrested and sentenced to probation, while Amani was placed with her grandmother but was eventually returned to her father. Despite this, Tiffany continued to abuse Amani. In 2012, Amani attempted to run away twice, once telling police that Tiffany had tied her up and forced her into a cold shower. In 2013, the family moved to an apartment in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Emin worked 2 jobs, leaving Tiffany alone with the children. Over time, Tiffany began to starve Amani. Amani died on October 28, 2013, weighing only 32 pounds. The day after Amani's death, Tiffany and Emin tried to cover it up. Tiffany suggested burning Amani's body, and they attempted to do so in a trash can, but it didn't burn completely. They kept her body in their apartment for several days until a man confessed to a friend. The man contacted authorities, and Tiffany fled with the other children, but later turned herself in. In 2019, Tiffany Moss was convicted of multiple charges, including malice murder and cruelty to children, and was sentenced to death. She remains the only female inmate on Georgia's death row, housed at Lee Arundel State Prison. Amani's father, Emun, pleaded guilty to his involvement in the death and is serving a life sentence. Madison McDonald, a 30-year-old woman, was charged with 2 counts of capital murder following the tragic deaths of her 2 young daughters, 1-year-old Lillian May and 6-year-old Archer Hammond, on April 6, 2021. McDonald went to the Irving Police Department and called 911 from the lobby, where she confessed to smothering her daughters. Officers who arrived at her home at the Anthem Apartments on Cowboys Parkway found the girls deceased. In her statement, McDonald explained that she believed her daughters were being abused and felt she needed to protect them, even if it meant taking their lives. She also claimed to have sedated the children before putting them to bed, stating she had done what was necessary to protect them. McDonald's trial began on April 12, 2023. Her defense team argued that she had serious mental health issues and was unaware that her actions were wrong. However, the prosecution's expert forensic psychologist, Christy Compton, testified that McDonald understood what she was doing and knew it was wrong. Compton highlighted that McDonald turned herself in, which indicated her awareness of the consequences of her actions. On April 19, 2023, the jury found McDonald guilty of 2 counts of capital murder, and she was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. During the trial, it was revealed that McDonald held irrational beliefs, including fears that people were trying to steal her children and sell them into sex trafficking. Her mother, Julie Kidd, testified that McDonald had been diagnosed with schizophrenia, although McDonald rejected these diagnoses. The motive behind the killings remains unclear, and authorities have stated that it may never be fully understood. Cheyenne Harris, a 21-year-old woman, was convicted of first-degree murder and child endangerment following the tragic death of her 4-month-old son, Sterling Coe, on August 30, 2017. Sterling was discovered lifeless in a baby swing at Harris's apartment in Chickasaw County, Rosemary, Iowa. An autopsy later revealed that the infant died from malnutrition, dehydration, and an E. coli infection caused by being left in a soiled diaper for up to 2 weeks. Harris was arrested after medics found the baby's body, and authorities later discovered new diapers and ointments in her home, indicating she had the means to care for her child but failed to do so. A forensic entomologist testified that the baby had been left in the swing for 9 to 14 days, sitting in a soiled diaper that attracted insects, and the resulting diaper rash caused skin infections. Harris's defense lawyer, Nicole argued that the death was not premeditated murder but was a result of postpartum depression and her self-medication with methamphetamine. Harris admitted to using meth several weeks before her son's death and claimed her mental health issues played a role in the tragedy. Harris was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, the mandatory sentence for first-degree murder in Iowa. Her partner, Zachary Cohen, was also convicted and received the same sentence.